burnout is not a recognized condition. It is far more deeper crisis than a regular tiredness. It's more brutal, it's more lethal than any pandemic. Weekends are helpful if you are just tired or borderline fatigued. Close to 85 to 90% of people experience energy crash between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
You have linked your self-worth to this doing, to productivity.
We actually have hypnotized ourselves towards doing. That is the reason why the brain loses its capacity or ability to switch off.
Dr. Shailendra Chaubey is one of India's leading Ayurvedic practitioners and burnout experts. For over 15 years, he's been the person high-performing founders, executives and celebrities quietly turn to when their bodies stop keeping up with their ambition.
Whatever is important for us, we have been told to take seriously. While the intention was to take it sincerely. Nothing consumes vitality like seriousness does.
You've broken burnout into 6 types.
First burnout, dehydrational burnout. Second burnout, musculoskeletal, brain fatigue, emotional burnout, chronic fatigue, shock, trauma.
So, if I identify a burnout today while hearing you, what do I do?
The solve actually relies in the 5 life essentials.
Let's just pause for a moment. Now, some people like quick answers, while some people like to think deeply. If you're in the second group, the secret sauce is made for you. So please hit subscribe. How would you describe what you do, sir?
This is one of the most difficult questions I find to answer, because what do I really do? The answer is I work with energy. And I've got to see that this energy with you at a human being level exists at these 5 different layers. Your physiological, your intellectual, your emotional, your vibrational and your spiritual. So at the physical, that energy means stamina, strength. At the intellectual, that energy means your ability to stay focused. Your at emotional level, it is your energy to be able to care. Vibrational, it's the vibrational energy, it is your magnetism, and spiritual energy, it's your clarity.
Got it.
Consciousness. So energy is one word. However, at different planes, it has different expression.
So Doc, today I want to talk about this incredible framework that you have created and you have shared with me, and how it can help all of us. It's a framework for these 2 words that you talk about all the time, is vitality and burnout, like the yin and yang. Could you tell us a little bit more about this framework?
First of all, vitality and burnout are not yin and yang.
I see.
However, if vitality is presence, the inverse of it is burnout. But while the word burnout is an extreme word, the simpler word which many people will be able to relate with is depletion. And many more than them who experience it, they'll relate with the word called fatigue.
Got it.
But the extreme case, while if the depletion continues to grow, if fatigue is not attended, if it continues to deepen, it will become burnout.
What is vitality mean for you? Or for us? What should we understand by vitality?
Okay, it's the force, like at human body, what is that innate intelligence human body is designed or is born with, Ji? Our human body is born with 2 innate intelligence to be able to reproduce or regenerate.
Right.
The force that nourishes or activates this intelligence in the body is vitality. If you take away vitality, body's ability to regenerate or reproduce, because it is only this ability of the body, Mukulji, which becomes the healing force.
Got it. And can you give me an example of what a high level of vitality, like you're saying, looks like in a person?
Only one word, if we have to look that, is freshness. Right? You can check with your own self. Like, what is my freshness quotient like?
I like that word.
Normally what happens, Mukulji, we all have, our mind has got to has got used to reducing everything to utility. I don't look at vitality as just something which is meant for being functional, that you are highly productive, high performing. All of that may be a byproduct. But the first, most innate, immediate thing present with is freshness. So, what is my freshness quotient like?
You're sparkling, you're glowing,
Right.
you're crackling with energy.
Right. And not just that, for how long do I sustain that freshness? I was doing this study on trying to find out what is the fatigue quotient of the people in the corporate. I was surprised that close to 85 to 90% of people, they experience energy crash between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., which means the fatigue quotient is so high.
Right.
By just when you've started your day and you start to crash, imagine what it would be doing to their productivity.
100%. And then you have to have some sugar or coffee.
And then, then thanks to the whip,
Yes.
the horse whip, which is our coffee, green teas, chewing gums, I think smoking.
Right. So that's vitality. Could you tell us a little bit more about burnout?
Let's say all of a sudden, if the light from this room just disappears, what term would we use for that phenomena?
Blackout.
Exactly. So when vitality diminishes, when vitality is wiped out, what you are left with is burnout. I realized that in absence of vitality, when your vitality drops, what would you experience? You would experience fatigue. When this fatigue, if it persists, it has not healed over a period of time, over a span, or depending on the severity or intensity, leads to this state I refer to as the burnout. So burnout is a very deep paralytic state of your being.
Got it. Fascinating. And what happens to the body during burnout?
Compromise of, if body is made up of cells, organs and symptoms, their efficiencies decline. And whatever that efficiency is meant for, if the efficiency is meant for excretion, your excretion system will be on a decline. If it is meant for blood circulation, absorption, there is a decline induced compromise. And this compromise creates that vulnerable state where you may become prone to catching or getting affected by any kind of health condition. It may be accidental that you just got migraine and your migraine is not healing.
Got it. Can burnout cause anxiety or depression?
All of this. Burnout can be the reason of your acne, acidity, IBS, psoriasis, to even other kind of health related problems, emotional disturbance, and including cancer.
And what are the early signs of burnout?
One, your regular rest does not provide you the energy you have, of yourself, which is capable. Your ability to focus is compromised. Your efficiency levels are compromised. You begin to see that your performance is begin to plummet. You started to become unreasonably aggressive, or you are every now and then snappy. You feel irritated, you are agitated, or you've started to become overwhelmed.
Talking about burnout and like you said, succumbing, why do weekends not fix burnout anymore. Before you would replenish yourself on a weekend, but today that's not enough.
That is the difference between feel good and healing. You may go to a massage or salon and take some points or massage. It feels amazing, but it may not necessarily heal. Weekends, this is weekends are helpful if you are just tired or borderline fatigued. Burnout is a far more deeper existent crisis than a regular tiredness.
You need a deeper reset.
Right. You need a deeper reset. Yeah.
Do high achievers, everybody's reading about high achievers because that's what you read about. Nobody reads about the 99% lower achievers. Our society is geared towards, like you said, success,
High achievers,
productivity, all these
people
things.
who are driven, high performers.
So do they, just wanted to understand what is their makeup. Do they burn out faster than other people?
Far more faster for few reasons. One, their attention energy, the intensity, aggression, and impatience is at another level because when they are attending something, they become so immersed into creating, building, scaling, reforming, whatever that is. One may not realize that how much of force is been poured into it. One is that. Second, the pace at which they are functioning and the pace at which the others are functioning is not the same. It creates a huge gap. So the burnout there is actually caused due to the interaction. Almost every now and then they find themselves that every interaction is actually become a reason of feeling frustrated. That is the reason why either a lot of these HPIs, high performing individuals or driven individuals, they either decide to kind of do things by themselves or they start to look for change. They say that no, this is not making sense. I cannot survive here. I'm not meant for this. This is not worth me.
Why does coffee, people have coffee all the time for energy. Why does coffee stop working after a certain point?
Of course, it's like you are whipping an extremely deadly tired horse while the horse was already running and functioning at its minimum most reserve. But beyond a point, the horse will also collapse. Your coffee is a stimulant. They are all amazing stimulants.
But isn't it good? They say it's got antioxidants, it's good for the brain, blah, blah.
The antioxidant property of it is one aspect, right? Which let's say takes care of something, but the many other energy components that your brain needs does not come from coffee alone. At the same time, coffee, if we have to say, is one of the most dehydrating food.
It is.
And if your hydration system is not up to the mark, maybe thinking that you are giving yourself something which is charging your brain, you have ended up dehydrating your systems. So balance is important, Mukulji.
You've broken burnout into 6 types. Can you name these 6 types of burnouts and tell us a little bit about each one?
Starting from outermost to the innermost,
Right.
The first burnout, depletion or fatigue, is dehydrational burnout. Okay. Dehydration simply means loss of fluid. Okay. I will repeat the word fluid because Mukulji, we have been taught in school that our body is made up of 72% of
Water.
That is partially right, largely wrong.
Right.
Our body is made up of 72% of fluid. And not just that, there are 2 types of fluids, aqua-based and emollients-based. The second burnout is musculoskeletal, which means that happens when there is a certain lack of nutrients, or maybe when there is overexertion, when you have not provided the right nutrition for the energy expense that you have been doing. So that's musculoskeletal burnout. The third burnout is cerebral, brain fatigue.
Very common.
Very, very common. You experience high irritability, brain fog, your ability to focus. The fourth burnout is emotional burnout. When you go through or experience a roller coaster of emotions, when you are in environments which are hostile in a certain way, toxic environments, right? That leads to emotional burnout. The fifth is chronic fatigue. This chronic fatigue is very interesting. It may come from dealing with a chronic challenge. It may be a health problem, it may be a life situation, or even when you are attending your loved ones who have chronic problems, like people who are attending to parents who have not been well for very long. If you meet friends who have kids with these difficult situations, autism,
They have chronic fatigue, right?
they carry this chronic fatigue.
A burden on their things.
Sixth burnout is from shock, trauma, sudden loss, rejection, loss of repute, finance, relationship,
So
or
an
fear.
accident.
Right?
An accident.
Accident, right? Now, in shock, what happens is all the other previous layers of reserves of your vitality collapses all of a sudden. So trauma is, in that sense, very fatal, very paralyzing.
Got it. So there's 6 different types of burnout.
These are 6 distinct types of burnouts, fatigue, which can be assessed. We have our system to assess what is your musculoskeletal burnout like. While you may not have musculoskeletal burnout, but what is your cerebral burnout like?
And I just wanted to get into a little bit on each of them because they all sound so interesting and affect us in so many different ways. Like you're saying, it's from outside in and kind of taking every part of your body and your mind, I guess. So the first one was dehydration burnout.
Dehydration burnout.
What are the symptoms for someone who has that?
Very simple symptom. Like symptoms are lots of dryness. It can start from there, like skin dryness to thirst. Like you feel thirsty, but the thirst is not quenched. And not just that, many times we kind of mistake hunger or we mistake thirst for hunger, right? And you begin to feel that there is need to give yourself something. Instead of reaching out to a fluid, we reach out to food. We start to eat. There is a dehydration test that I've created. If, like, let's say, just to test if your hunger is natural hunger, if it is false hunger or true hunger. Whenever next you are hungry, instead of eating something, just have a cup of fluid. And after having the fluid, if you feel hungry again within 20 minutes, then know for sure that it was true hunger. But if you are not hungry even for the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, please know that you were dehydrated.
And what kind of fluid? Even water or like...
Water.
Milk is very different.
Okay. These fluids can range from water to infusions. So basically, your fluid needs to carry some energy from some electrolytes, something which has presence of nutrients in it, which has presence of some salts, some nutrients, some minerals. So starting from water, it can move to infusions, herbal teas, it can move to soups, nariyal panis, nimbu panis, then smoothies, soups, all of that. Of course, then milk.
Got it.
Turmeric lattes.
And that will be more helpful to top up your fluids as opposed to
top
eating
up
something.
Your fluids. Take care of the right compartments where you need these fluids.
Got it.
I'm reminded cow ghee, oils, they also play a very important role. When we take omega, what is omega? It is a fluid.
It's fluid.
And which organ does it take care of?
Joints,
And
heart,
also your brain.
brain.
Will you, like,
I
if
failed
you
that
have
test.
to look into the live anatomy of the body, brain is the juiciest organ. Now, imagine how much of fluid are you really providing yourself?
It's juicy because it's always wet. It's kind of encased
Yes,
in wetness.
it's fully surrounded by lots of fluid.
And the next one is musculoskeletal.
Musculoskeletal. So if, let's say, 72% of the body is fluid, the rest 28% will be mass. That mass is by and large between the musculoskeletal. And that musculoskeletal depends on nutrients ranging from macros to micros, and hence the musculoskeletal.
And what would someone who has a depletion of this look like or feel?
From many things, one, sluggishness. As much in the mind they feel very active, they will not find the body supporting that. They'll always feel that the body is somewhere there and the mind is already working there. Physical inertia, which normally they themselves will not agree that it's laziness, it comes across as laziness. However, it's musculoskeletal fatigue. The moment they start to work out or procrastinating movements basically comes from musculoskeletal fatigue. Low stamina.
Right.
This is one very common question I ask the people whom I meet when they work out, is they're working out making them feel brighter and energetic, or makes them feel more dull, or after a workout they feel that they need another 1.5 or 2 hours to then recover. These are signs of musculoskeletal burnout.
Right.
Musculoskeletal burnout is while all fatigues, all burnouts, Mukherjee, is the only reason for every kind of metabolic sluggishness.
Right.
A lot of people, because I'm also speaking about this, because many people struggle with weight loss. And a lot of people feel that while they are following the right regime and also maybe working out, etc., when they compare to someone else who is following the same or even half of that, they see that they are getting faster results, but they are not getting any result. The reason is this musculoskeletal burnout. Another reason of this burnout is your inability to absorb or retain nutrients from what you eat. So I want to bring your attention to that Ayurveda component over here. Normally, even like when Gandhiji has said that you are what you eat, with all respect to that, Ayurveda says that you are what you digest. Right? We have this concept of Agni. Agni is the conversion factor. Conversion of what? Of the food that you eat into nutrients and energy. Right? If your Agni is weak, if your digestive fire is weak, even if you're eating the healthiest, a lot of us, like who are here in like the kind of lives we live, the kind of food we are exposed to, even when we do our blood tests, a lot of people, we find they're so deficient on many kind of nutrients, vitamins, all of that.
Low absorption.
Because the absorption is compromised.
Right.
So what needs attention is Agni. What needs attention is this ability to absorb. Right. That's one very big reason of musculoskeletal burnout.
The next one we talked about was cerebral burnout.
Cerebral burnout.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's brain burnout.
Brain fatigue. Right.
Right.
It's brain fatigue.
Which I think no one on earth today will not have some idea of what you're talking about, but I would love to go deeper into it.
No, actually, why would they not have this idea while they are already experiencing it?
Yes.
We all are experiencing a certain kind of, what are the symptoms of it? They all will immediately connect. The symptoms will resonate because inability to stay focused. finding difficulty in or the compromise of their own efficiency, mental efficiency,
Yes.
high irritability levels, which they know that is not their nature. Where does that come from? It comes from brain fatigue. However, let me also tell you, Ji, the order of each fatigue, each burnout is the more deeper the previous one is, it feeds into the other. So if you have chronic dehydrational fatigue, it will start to lead to musculoskeletal fatigue. If you have also musculoskeletal fatigue, it will start to lead to you'll begin to experience symptoms of the cerebral fatigue, the brain fatigue. And the first sign, the sign of cerebral fatigue, are those first 5-10 minutes of when you've opened your eyes. The difficulty with which you open your eyes, the enthusiasm, etc., and the force that you have to create, or the dependence on the tea or your coffee that should reach to you in the 10 minutes, actually decide what is the extent of your brain fatigue. A lot of people, even when they wake up, we do not wake up with freshness. We wake up almost as if the sleep was incomplete, inadequate.
Yes.
Many people, they get to sleep long, but they do not experience that kind of freshness.
They're holding the coffee or tea and they're like this. And about half an hour later, when they've had their coffee and settled down, then they'll say, now I'm alive.
So imagine, for the kind of brain fatigue you experience, the many ways you try to cope up for the same. The tea, coffee, all the kind of stimulants, and the many other sources of energy that you look for should satiate you instantly. For example, this is what sugar does. Why do we reach out for something which is high calorie, like sugar or something? So people who look for something high or deep calorie, lot of them experience are already in a state of cerebral fatigue because they need something which will provide instant energy.
Of course.
So that is what sugar or sweet food does. That is what a lot of high calorie food does. Putting them in a very vicious cycle, a loophole, which becomes very difficult to break.
I think we will spend a lot of time on brain burnout later because, like you said, it's something that everybody has today because our minds are so overloaded. But we'll complete all of them.
Right.
So we move to the next one, which is emotional burnout.
While one reason, as we are saying, that over a period of time, when you see there is decline in your brain level of functioning, you personally don't like that about yourself. So you are already borderline agitated, irritated.
You're judging yourself.
Right. And at the same time, emotional burnout is when you start to experience a certain kind of negativity, toxicity, or when there is roller coaster. They are also linked to the type of person you are.
Yes.
If I may, what I've observed, there are these three kinds of people using three kinds of their intelligences. The thinking kind, the feeling kind, and the instinctive kind.
Right.
The thinking kind, who are the strategic kind, they experience more of cerebral burnout. The feeling kind, they experience emotional burnout because for them, the portal through which they connect is feeling. So that is the link there.
Got it. The next one you spoke about was chronic ailment burnout or chronic burnout.
Chronic ailment burnout, or let's say chronic challenge burnout.
Got it.
Any kind of challenge that has stayed with you for over a period of time. That challenge can be one of your own health. The challenge can be, you will see that people who are struggling with weight, they experience a very different kind of tiredness because of this own inner battle. Others don't understand that.
Yes.
They feel that, we feel that you're not sincere to yourself, you're not following the right discipline. If you have to look into their people who are struggling with a certain addiction, only they know that while there is an outer battle, there also is an inner battle. So when we use the word chronic challenge, the challenge can be of a certain physiology, certain health challenge, The challenge can be with a certain situation. You have a partner or a parent to look after, and over many years. So it's a chronic challenge, burnout.
A phobia.
Even that phobia,
Yeah.
something which is far more deeper than, yeah.
It's just inside you all the time, and you are trying to make it better, like a weight thing or a phobia or something. But it's not
It
happening.
eats up a large space
Yes.
of your vitality, of your
Right.
energy.
Because the energy is going there.
A
Why am
lot.
I doing this? Why am I doing this?
Right.
Got it. And the last one you spoke about was
Trauma, shock, shatteredness, completely based on what are you more sensitive towards. I had learned this about that in COVID, the many number of deaths that happened during COVID was not just only because of COVID. Many people who lost lives was because of the fear of COVID. The moment they got diagnosed, they succumbed to it.
Right. Really?
Oh, yes, of course. What it does is shock will immediately compromise your ability to handle. That handling ability is not just only at your thinking level, it is your emotional, and then the same applies to your handling ability at your vital organs. What if it compromises your ability to handle something at your cardiac level? That kind of compromise versus any other kind of compromise. It just creates a vulnerable state.
Got it. If we step back from the symptoms and we look at the causes of these 6 types of burnout, what are the causes?
4, very specific.
4 causes.
4 causes. 4 causes.
6 burnouts, 4 causes.
6 burnouts, 6 types of burnouts, 4 causes. First is mismatch self-care. For the way you are invested or the levels from where you are invested, not taking appropriate measures to care for yourself. You've worked 14 hours, poor sleep. You've invested so much energy, food habits or not the best quality of food, mismatch of these dimensions. The second one is unconscious or unnecessary. Appropriate word personally, but it is very mean and rude to actually say mindless force expense. Mukulji, whatever we attend, specifically people who are driven by whatever they are driven by, whether it is a mother who is driven by parenting kids, an executive, whatever you are driven by in your life, a certain force that will be present when you are attending it. The 3 forces are intensity, like you are very passionate, aggression, because you are at a pace, and precision, time management,
Yes.
impatience.
Okay.
So, unconscious and unnecessarily intense, unnecessarily aggressive, unnecessarily impatient is a major reason of depletion.
So basically, if I have understood it, it's over expenditure of energy
Overexpense, right.
for some goals that you have. I know I have this goal,
Right,
and I should be expending this X amount of energy, but I'm expending X times 10 continuously, unnecessarily, unknowingly, mindlessly,
Right.
and yeah, like you said, like
This is the
a
reason-
parent and a child, or you at work, and you're just pushing like a mad person, not knowing why you're doing it, kind of thing.
The word frustration actually is byproduct, by and large, when you do not know, when you have not observed this about yourself, that you got unnecessarily spent as in terms of intensity, aggression, and impatience.
Got it. Okay.
The third is underdeveloped or unequipped to handle one's sensitivity. I speak to a lot of people, and many have actually started to tell me, I ask them, what do you feel about you are so sensitive? They've used extreme words. They say that I feel that sensitivity is a curse. I'm only suffering. I wish I was thick-skinned.
Yeah.
From where I see,
I know
Mukulji,
I know exactly how they feel.
Mukulji, sensitivity is the only gift. You cannot not feel. But just because you did not develop an ability to handle the sensitivity, you're feeling that that is curse. From where I see, we all need another kind of lesson where our ability to handle whatever we are sensitive about. Because what's happening right now, if we have to look at the world right now, the most relevant world is that when we say world has come more closer, each one of us or everything has got into a much more intimate space of interacting with us. This is the reason why our deeper realms, our deeper spaces are far more exposed. And the depth of the external also is far more exposed. I understand I'm speaking in vague or
So we
absurd,
are all
but
more connected
we-
in
we
ways
are
that we
all-
want and don't want.
you are right about that, Ji. That connection or exposed to each other. And whilst being sensitive, when we do not know how to handle, I don't know how to handle this manner of yours, right? And then I will lose it. That losing of me is my burnout. So that is the third reason I put the onus on.
In Vipassana,
Ji.
I practice Vipassana here whenever I can, whenever I do. They say that life is like a bullock cart with two wheels. One wheel is awareness, which is the same as sensitivity, and the other wheel is equanimity.
Wow.
And if both are nice and big and round, then the bullock cart moves forward nicely. If one is very big and one is very small, what happens to the bullock cart? It goes left, right.
Disruption.
Exactly. So
Disruption.
some people are very equanimous. The stoic people. Like, I didn't know, मुझे पता नहीं था ये हो गया कि नहीं. अच्छा, you did something. I didn't hear that noise. I didn't realize I've eaten something wrong. And you have people who you're talking about who are very sensitive, who have to build that equanimity. But you need both to balance out.
So we were looking at the three reasons. The first is mismatch self-care. Second is unconscious, unnecessary force expense. The third is inability to handle one's own sensitivity. Right now, the fourth one, my personal favorite, which I find it everywhere, is seriousness. Mukulji, nothing consumes vitality like seriousness does. And you will find that rampant. Not just that, it is the most contagious disease.
The lightness.
It's more brutal, it's more lethal than any pandemic.
You're taking yourself too seriously.
And everything around also. Now, very big reason for that. There is a very deep unconscious conditioning. Whatever is important for us, we have been told to take seriously. While the intention was just one, to take it sincerely. We've mistaken to take something important sincerely to take it seriously.
To remove the playfulness from it.
Play, fun is completely, and we can check with ourselves what is our fun quotient, because we feel that
You
to
can't
be in
have
a
fun.
state of
If you're
fun,
working, how can
you're
it
not
be fun?
you're not sincere with what
Yes,
you're doing.
yes.
There is because it means that if you are having fun, you will not attend it with responsibility. You will not attend it with maturity.
And also the concept of working hard being a negative thing.
Yes, Ji. The antidote to seriousness is a very innate smile. This is the reason why Buddha, do you really think that the Buddhas that we see, which were 2,500 years ago, in the forest would daily shave and be clean shaved? No. What they have created, like the statue of the Buddha, is symbolic. You will always see a smile. It represents the inner state. And that touches you in your heart. So while we're discussing this, I think the first thing that's most important is that can you carry a smile in your spirit?
Right.
It is the most powerful thing to have.
let's be honest for a second. The secret sauce isn't for everyone. It's for people who want to grow to achieve their potential. So if that is you, maybe you should subscribe. So we've spoken about the symptoms, the causes, and now comes what
The
could
solve.
be the most important. Yes, the solutions.
Right. The solve actually is not at all far. 6 kind of these burnout, these causes, etc. But the solve is the easiest. I am not saying convenient, but I am using the word that it is easiest. Why? Because it is present to each and every person in their most immediateness of their life. You do not need to go anywhere to bring these dimensions, optimize the dimensions which we are about to speak. The solve actually relies in the 5 life essentials. If you know how to optimize the 5 life essentials, the food, fluid, breath, movement, and sleep, we pay very little attention. So, like, let's say if the quality of your food can be optimized, the quality of fluid,
Can you tell us a little bit more about when you say food?
optimizing food, we go back to that point, Mukulji, we discussed that there is one very big reason is the mismatch of self-care. Imagine right now when we see that we are barely spending physical energy. We are largely spending a lot of mental, emotional energy, vibrational energy. Now, this is not going to change. It is going to continue. Is it possible that our food can be far more energy rich and bulk less? Which means, can the grain heaviness portion be far more reduced? Can it be process lighter? Can it be grain lighter? And can it be micronutrient rich? Can it be more rich of antioxidants? So can our food have large quantities of vegetables? I actually, when I speak to my patrons or clients, I tell them, can you develop this habit of beginning to eat vegetables like cattle do? Because that is what we really need. Vegetables in abundance. There was this scientist I've heard, and he got some very big prestigious award around the gut microbes. And what work? He just said that each one of us, the amount of vegetables that we need to eat is 30 different types of plant per week. Can you imagine the volume or the different variety, diversity of plant that should go in our gut? This kind of food system now needs to evolve, which is largely around plant-based, which is bulk lighter.
What practical tip can you give someone, to balance their food out? Very simple practical tip.
Based on their energy expense. However, if the vegetable realm dimension throughout the entire day, the vegetable percentage can be between 65 to 80%, can be largely vegetables.
And
And
protein?
most of them, and then integrating protein with the same. So protein be the second, between then 25 to 30%. But I'm also specifically using the word your energy expense. Right? Most of us, like, okay, Mukulji, for brain work, you don't need so much of protein as much you will need micronutrient. So in today's time and age, a lot of us where the life is more sedentary, physical energy expense is lesser, let the micronutrient intake go up. I personally advise that we should, for the kind of life that we have, and a national shame that India is the diabetic capital in the world, all thanks to wheat and wheat products. They should move away from our tables. Everything that comes from wheat, the bread, maida, noodles, pasta, burgers, all of that are the sources of food which is very, very low on nutritive value and extremely high on causing bulk accumulation.
Got it.
Moving to the fluids, if we can become more conscious, when we are saying that 72% of our body is fluid, a much more deeper attention needs to go to the types of fluids. fluids which have electrolytes, fluids which represent milk. I'm not by saying milk, I don't mean dairy. If at all, even dairy, personally, from the space what I've understood, studied, cow milk only when the source is known is appropriate. Other milk comes from the milk of the nuts or coconut milk, one of the best milk, deeply energizing, nourishing.
Even almond milk is nourishing?
It is, but Mukulji, there you also need to check with what is your digestive ability. Right? But since we are speaking about fluids, okay, the safest fluids are electrolytes, infusions like herbal teas, smoothies, and fantastic source of high energy, less bulk, absorbability of it is amazing. Largely vegetable based, very little milk and fruit based, or nuts and dry fruits can be present. Soups, by and large, if your soup can be the first major 2 meals that we have, lunch and dinner, or at least if just once a day, if our dinner can start with large bowl of different kinds of vegetable soups, that is the way through which you have given your body lots of vegetable, and in soup form it becomes far more readily absorbable.
What is something that someone can do every day to increase their, like you said,
everyone should remember to have at least 1 to 2 glasses of electrolytes that can come from simple, what we call in India, our nimbu panis, like electrolytes without sugar. Okay, or coconut water.
So kala namak and limbu.
That suffices. Or coconut water, which is a natural electrolyte. But provided you also need to keep in check with what your sugar status is. Are you diabetic, pre-diabetic, and quantities, etc. may also matter. Then different kinds of these herbal teas. I'm not suggesting the green tea. It's dehydrating in nature. But herbal infusions, they help enhance our ability to absorb, retain, and activate our liver, activate the digestive system, take care of the nervous system, calm the nervous systems. Coconut milk is a very good source of fluid. Cow ghee or other safer lipids like coconut oil, rice bran oil in very strict mild to moderate, olive oils, these are very good sources of fluids.
Got it.
We have been at my center, we have been reversing many kind of conditions just through this food system, food work, where emphasis on a certain percentage. So you will need to play with proportions of food, proportions of fluids infused in your day.
Can you give us an example of what you've been reversing?
Oh, we have it. Then to take names, it has been from metabolic conditions like hypothyroidism, diabetes, cholesterol, to inflammatory conditions, arthritis, etc. and being able to keep in control many few cancer patient conditions just by food.
Wow.
And psoriasis, IBS, diarrhea, gut related problems, to even a lot of psychosomatic or mental emotional disturbance. One of the cases, there was this lady who had come with loss of her in-laws and parent, and she had slipped into a depressive state, and she had come for treatment of her anxiety because she had learned that we also do talk sessions, healing sessions, counseling, trauma healing, etc. With her, the entire work was only on, because in my assessment I realized that she is very undernourished. Her food system and her absorption was not up to the mark. We started with that kind of system, and in 3 to 4 weeks time, most of her anxiety completely disappeared, and which continues to be. And then I later told her that imagine, because she's very sensitive and also feeling kind, she was getting overwhelmed, and then she took that this is some kind of depression or anxiety problem, while she had symptoms. But even these symptoms could be attended just by looking at nourishment. My purpose of sharing this is to only highlight the power of nourishment.
Got it.
Now, if we can start to optimize the food dimension, the fluid dimension, The third most neglected, breath dimension, Mukulji. How much are we really breathing? A lot of us, we say that I don't feel much energy. And if you have to look at people and their breath, you will find almost everyone is just breathing up to here. Do you know that what that means, Ji? The amount of residual breath that still that your lung holds, that remains in your lungs. If we have to ask people, just do a simple exercise of breathe deeply. Deep breathing means just deep, breathe deep into the belly and exhale. People get tired in 10 minutes of deep breathing. The third life essential is most neglected. Also, why? Because even if you don't pay attention to it, your body will continue to breathe, but bare minimum.
Got it. What would a practical solution be, Doc, for breathing for everyone?
Okay, three, very practical, very important. That take your inhale for granted. Body, because there is so much atmospheric pressure, breath will rush in. If you can develop a capacity, let the capacity be these two. The capacity to breathe out to the fullest. The capacity to empty your lungs to the fullest. Maybe we can do it together. Okay, so like you can breathe out. You can breathe out both through your nostril or through your mouth. You breathe out, hold the breath. Further top up that exhale without breathing in. Further exhale. I've still held my breath. I'm not breathing. Now, once you know that the breath is out, stay relaxed and wait. Hold till the point you feel that now it's really important. Then, with control, breathe only in the belly. Allow the belly to expand. Stay there for 3 seconds and repeat. Once again, go into very, very long exhale. Hold the breath out. Top up without breathing in. Further empty out. You will find that there's still some more breath left. That's a lot of residual breath. You might as well tuck your belly in. Once you've paused for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, allow the belly to expand. Receive breath gently. Okay, few things very important about breath, that it should be always gentle. It shouldn't be, you'll get severe headaches.
Got it.
The number 4th life essential, I call it movement. And I'm still not using the word exercise.
I'm trying to move.
Right, that is movement. By and large, you will find, Mukulji, that a lot of us, we have moved away from movement because of this another word, which is not a very nice word, exercise. It doesn't come naturally to us, while movement comes most naturally to us.
That's such a good point.
You will see that no child needs to be taught to move, and all children are extremely kind of hyperactive when it comes to movement, but they don't like to exercise. Movement is innate to vitality. Food has its own connection with vitality, fluid, breath, movement, its own innate. And that movement can range from just simply going on a long walk to whirling, dancing. Our mind has reduced movement to just being utilitarian in terms of burning calories. For once, can we please separate this burning calorie business with enjoying, thriving, please? And the 5th one is sleep. Sleep is nature's way to deeply restore the center of our nervous system, our brain. And in that deep sleep state, in the deep restorative space, be able to automatically heal whatever needs healing, ranging from at your digestive level to hormonal level to mental, emotional, and to also even deep trauma levels.
How everybody has a problem sleeping. So how do you sleep better?
Few things we need to understand that has been a reason of disturbed sleep. One, while it is nourishment, the right nutrition doesn't go moves into the body. You have not received the right nutrition, so nutrition plays a very important role. Second, it's a programming. It's like if we forget the switch off mode, you will not be able to sleep. So when you have trained your mind to remain active or switched on all the time, so the answer of that is the habit of processing. This is because of a deep-seated notion. And do you know what that is, Ji? What am I doing?
Yes, in my head, it seems to be at night when I see you have linked your self-worth to this doing, to productivity.
Exactly. Which is to utilize time.
Utilize time.
Now,
time is a finite resource. If I don't utilize it, if I don't be the boss of time, time will be the boss of me. You have a negative relationship with time.
So, we actually have hypnotized ourselves towards doing. That is the reason why the brain loses its capacity or ability to switch off. There are processes, breathing processes help. In fact, the other substitute of not being able to sleep but to achieve the same restoration you can achieve through very deep, relaxed breathing processes. This is what yoga achieved through the process of Shavasana and Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is an induced hypnosis. You can take yourself or you can follow some guideline to move into a state where almost every particle of your body is in a state of deep relaxation and you are breathing into your fullest. Any person who aspires to slip into sleep-like state, there is a process I learned. It's called Hara breathing. Okay, that process is about you lie down, you completely turn off your lights, you create the right environment, make your body extremely comfortable, and for 10 minutes just breathe in deeply and breathe out deeply through mouth open. All that you need to do and remember for 10 minutes is follow the movement of breath. When the breath flows in with your attention and awareness, go inwards. When the breath begins to flow out, just move out of the body. When you do this for 10 minutes, mouth breathing is very important because all thinking is connected to nostril breathing. The movement,
Because in yoga, they always say breathe with your nose.
That is very important. You should be breathing. What I'm giving to you is a new age. Consider this the hack. It's a biohack to slip into either deep states of brain recovery or sleep. If you can, with all your totality, just commit for 10 minutes, Mukulji. If the only business is to breathe into the fullest and breathe out to the fullest. For 10 minutes. For the first few minutes, you will observe that the brain is active, your mind is thinking, you are able to feel. But if you can remain committed, in 10 minutes, you will find a silence begin to descend from somewhere else. You'll begin to find yourself becoming more collected, more settled, more quiet, and automatically your being will shift into deeper spaces of stillness, calm, and restfulness.
Nice. Let's just pause. Subscribing here isn't just about supporting our channel. It's about choosing what kind of thinking you want around you regularly. So if that resonates, you know what to do. I want to know, tell me about when and how you came upon this, this framework. How did you create this framework? What breakthroughs happened in your life and in your mind to create this?
There are two ways I'll be able to answer this question. it is not one specific moment or day then when that eureka thing really happened. The whole system unfolded by observing many patterns. So it's been over observation of many years interacting and looking at very different situations. Like I have a practice where I meet people who come with challenges from many walks of life. The problems, the challenges may be about a life situation, emotional situation, or it may be a health situation. What I observed, Mukulji, that at times there were certain people who could overcome their challenges or problems with tremendous ease and in a very short span. And there were some where, while the problem seemed very simple, it took a lot for them to even solve that or to reach a point where they would begin to experience some kind of relief. And that made me realize that it is actually not the severity of the problem alone deciding how it is going to heal.
Right.
There is something else as well, which is strongly responsible for how soon you reach your break even or that healing point. And to me, it was the energy system the person had, or the energy system the person was tapping into. Your energy system, which is intrinsic in within you, your energy system at your biological level, your energy system at your mental emotional level,
At all the
or
levels.
your energy system even at your spiritual level. And while it was that continuing to practice or interact is the word in a certain way, this one incident I want to share with you which actually pushed me towards considering this entire work and look at creating a structure which can be explained. So if I may, I'll share this story. Goes back some at least 12, 13 years ago. And there was this friend of mine who, like, there are many friends who are deep friends, but you are not in touch for many years. And this friend, she reached out and it was on a call and she said that I want to just come and see you at the clinic. Let's say she must have been close to 32, 33-year-old then, but her weight was only 34 kilos. Okay. And she shared with me a condition she has. She said that she's been diagnosed with this lung condition. It's called wet pleurisy. And where there was, in one side of her lung, she had 1700 ml of fluid. And so she said that, Shailendra, I'd come here to meet the specialist and they say they cannot do anything about this condition. And why? The specialist felt either it is tuberculosis or cancer. But either ways, her treatment cannot be started because she is underweight. Observing her, assessing her, I said that, dear, if all of that is over for you, I still feel that that is not the case and we don't need to take it that way. In Ayurveda, there is a complete different way of approaching, diagnosing. And I said, let us start with our approach. We started, I gave her some systems to follow, food, herbs, therapies that she can do at home, and also my one-on-one sessions with her. In a week's time, she got her sonography done and the fluid had come down to 1100 ml. And that assured that was very promising about the approach we had started to take. And I told her that you meet me and this is working for us, let's continue. Mukulji, in 1 month, after a month when we repeated the test, I still have those reports because the sonography report said fluid untraceable. We must have continued with the treatment for 3-4 months, and after that even we stopped meeting. She went in her life doing things. After few months, she came back. She just came to catch up and etc. And she said, Shailendra, you are a magician. This is magic. And I was telling her, it's pure science. It's really science. And so she said that, okay, tell me one thing. I am ready to accept that up to the Ayurveda medicine and everything that you are doing me, which comes from the books, is science. What those are the processes that we were doing together that you discussed, our discussions, inner work and healing work. Does that also come from the science that you've learned, or it's different? So I did not have answer. She said, you see, there is something which you are tapping into unknowingly. And I still remember her words. She said, Shailendra, is it possible for you that before you die, you decode this system and create something, be able to present that? Because like I'm alive, like I'm a living example of what that system did. It was then on that I started to work towards looking at many dimensions I've been, and then I realized that while everything that I'm is the foundation of this work, Ayurveda is at the very center. However, there are many other observations which are very relevant to today's time and age, which are part of this whole structure.
Got it.
Ji.
Magician, right? Interesting. I when I was hearing you talk, I was thinking that I need to spend more time with you. To try some of your magic on my issues as well. Can you give a simple example of how, your plans work for, there's so many different kinds of people. Like someone is like an athlete, someone is an executive, like you said.
It's very easy. Basically, there are three things you would need to know about yourself. So there is some homework here in the sense that you will need to go through some self-discovery. If you can find out your 3 P's, okay, or your energy expense through your 3 P's, okay. The first P is your physiology. In Ayurveda, we call it the Prakriti. What is your energy expense for your physiological make? The second energy expense is through your personality. Some personalities are intense personalities, some personalities are generous personalities, some personalities are passive personalities. So your energy expense is different. Physiologically, someone has a make where the metabolism is high, the moisture utilizing tendency is much higher, someone has slower. So the third P is your pursuit. So if you can understand what is your physiological energy requirement, what is your personality energy requirement, and what is your pursuit energy requirement. If in your pursuit, if you are a chess player.
How will we understand the energy requirement?
Okay, then through these dimensions, you will be able to first understand where is that you are spending your energy maximum from. Are you spending a lot of physical energy? Like right now we are in conversation. This is a physical energy expense. If throughout the day I am in continuous interactions, which means my physical body has been subjected to a lot of kind of energy expense, I must look for that kind of thing which takes care of my physical nourishment from rest, from food, from fluids. However, if my physical energy expense is less, but I am someone who is all the time processing, who is creating, so you will begin to get an idea of where you are spending your energy maximum from. If you are someone who is a feeling kind, if you feel that your emotional charge is very high, you will recognize that, okay, my energy expense is more from the emotional dimension.
Hearing you talk about all these burnouts, I can definitely identify at least one or two in me, and I'm sure people have more than one burnout. On different levels, people will have multiple burnout. So if I identify a burnout today while hearing you, what do I do?
The first thing would be that whatever you're doing, without changing whatever you're doing and who you are being in your life, can you first slow down and take a step back. Don't be part of that particular chase. Don't be pacing yourself. Slow down your pace. In just that slowing down, you will begin to attend to yourself and that your inner light, your intelligence will start to help you take the right steps.
To find the right places to look at the more pressing problems.
Absolutely.
Find time. I like that.
The second thing, while it may really sound absurd, Mukulji, succumb, which means in a state of burnout, when you're feeling that you're not able to be functional, stop pushing yourself to function. The moment you drop, then whether it's dehydrational or musculoskeletal, emotional or even trauma, when you stop pushing yourself and when you succumb to that feeling, you have actually allowed yourself to slip into very deep space of rest. There's something about our spirit. The moment you allow all the other realms to just collapse for some time, but you need to do it with total trust. We actually feel that I may completely lose it. It never happens. If you completely allow yourself to collapse, to just succumb and trust for some time, you'll begin to see that the nature of energy is such that it will first consolidate. But energy can never remain static. It will start to generate itself and slowly start to grow. So maybe first step, slow down. But if genuinely possible, succumb. And then let your energy start fresh.
Got it. Do I need to quit my job to recover from burnout?
Not necessarily. In fact, not at all. You do not need to give up whatever you have been attending to. The first thing that is required is acknowledgement and recognizing that there is a burnout. And second thing, most importantly, is to utilize your breaks far more wisely. Mukulji, we do not utilize our breaks for healing or wisely. So, are you saying that almost everyone who is burnout doesn't get a break? No, we all get breaks. But what are we doing in that break?
The same old thing in a way.
So, being wise about the breaks can actually help you heal. And then regular breaks can bring you back to your amazing functionality.
When should one seek professional help for burnout?
Mukherjee, the very fact that you and me are last maybe 2-3 hours, we have been speaking about this word burnout. Burnout is not a recognized condition. Burnout is not looked at as a problem which should be solved. One normally uses it as if the feeling is that one is burning out like a candle. Okay, they use it to describe how they are feeling, to not identify or speak about it as a diagnosis. So I'm a bit skeptical about answering this because in the existing systems of help, burnout is not looked at. You are looked as someone who is anxious. Oh, you have this, you have
Digestive
IBS,
problems.
you have musculoskeletal problem, or okay, you have come with autoimmune. And I will focus on that. To be able to attend burnout, there has to be systems across which are attending burnout and attending the types of burnout, the dehydration, the root causes, and not treating that as a medical problem. Most of the solving systems fall under the medical. The medical dimensions are not trained to handle burnout. They are trained to handle medical crises, emergencies.
Thank you so much, Gigi. I've really learned a lot on burnout and vitality, and I'm going to spend some time with you after this because I can see a lot of burnout areas that I have that need help, and I'm sure everyone else will feel the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Ji. This opportunity really means a lot, and thanks a lot.